Hello, Jennifer. Nice to have you on our call. You're back in Toronto, right?
I am, yeah.
So we've seen that the COVID-19 crisis is not only a health crisis, but also a socio-economic one. So we also seen that it's especially true in the way that delivery services have boomed to a certain extent. But that's on the cost of the workers, and during the lockdown because of the corona crisis. Could you briefly describe the day-to-day situation for couriers?
Work has been very busy for couriers. The government here has decided that food delivery couriers are essential workers. And so encouraging people to order food, to order alcohol, and to have it delivered to their homes instead of going outside. So we are very busy, struggling though with various companies like Foodora or Uber or DoorDash to get them to provide any number of safe work conditions to us, whether that's personal protective equipment, no contact deliveries, literally anything like that. They have all refused to do that. And so working is a little bit risky and a little bit nerve-wracking, but lucrative if you have no other options, as many of us do.
Despite boosting the success on social platforms, international food delivery services did like Delivery Hero, they shut down operations recently, like with the brand Foodora. Is this correct? Can you tell us why and what happened there now?
Yeah, so on the 27th of April, Foodora announced via email to couriers that they are leaving Canada and terminating employment for all couriers, all office staff, all dispatchers within 2 weeks. And this definitely came as a shock and a surprise to all of us, particularly in the middle of a pandemic, to have no job and very few options for another job is devastating. They have declared bankruptcy and are continuing through the process for bankruptcy in Canada, stating that they owe just under $5 million, over $500,000 of which is to Delivery Hero.
They owe the state or the couriers some money, you mean?
$1 million is to office staff. I believe it's only a couple thousand to couriers, a lot to restaurants, but it seems just like the past week or 2 weeks worth of money to restaurants. Some to lawyers. The largest owing debt, aside from the unpaid wages to office staff and managers, would be to Delivery Hero. So it is very curious.
To clear out, are you employees of Foodora or are you independent contractors?
So for the past 2 years, we have been fighting to receive recognition as dependent contractors so that we can unionize. And 2 months ago in February, we won. The Ontario Labour Relations Board came down with a verdict that we are dependent contractors and so entitled to unionize and entitled to workers' rights. We are still continuing that process as Foodora. Here in Ontario, anytime that workers are unionizing, the employer always has the option to recognize the union or to fight the union. We let Foodora know that we wanted to continue the process, and they have stated that they will continue to fight the union despite the bankruptcy. And so we will continue with that process to be able to open our ballot box and identify that we did win, and also to be able to fight for some remaining rights for us.
Is there a connection between getting recognized as employees or as dependent contractors and the closure of Foodora, of the market, to pull back out of the market? Or
Foodora have been very aggressive that they are simply declaring bankruptcy because the market is not profitable. However, it is a very strong coincidence here in Canada, it is, that's illegal. To prevent workers from unionizing is illegal, and so of course I understand why they would commit so hard to the bankruptcy if that is not the reason that they are leaving. That they are fighting us still to be able to open the ballot box, to be recognized as dependent contractors, as workers with rights entitled to unionize. Also very interesting. But it is only speculation.
Do you think that this might have an effect for all the other gig economy companies like Uber, like DoorDash, like the other companies you have active in Canada, or this verdict that you're dependent contractors and not independent contractors?
Yeah. That win is precedent setting. The Ontario Labour Relations Board governs all issues on this subject for workers in Ontario. So that win will help to make it easier for other gig workers to unionize. We have some friends who work for Uber who are also fighting to unionize. They're currently in the process of going through the early stages of their case at the Labour Board, and we know that win will help to make it a little bit easier for them. So we look forward to seeing other workers take on their own cases, and certainly we do hope that this makes it easier for them, less of a fight.
Sounds really tough, and it's couldn't be more old than in the middle of a pandemic to lose your job. In Austria, there is a hardship fund for self-employed people. If you're self-employed, you had the right to get some money from the government because of the shutdown. Are you able in Canada to receive any kind of support from the state now as a foodora-Kurier or as a former foodora-Kurier?
There is a pandemic-related fund. It is, we and many other advocates all over the country did fight very hard to ensure the gig workers and other temporary workers would be able to access that fund. Many of the qualifications are prohibitive, and so we see a variety of stories about gaining access to it. We have started our own hardship fund. We've raised a little bit over $11,000 and are looking to raise more, and we've been dividing the money equally amongst workers who are most hardly impacted by both the pandemic and foodora closing. In regards to sort of the future and any potential fund that may be available to us, the federal government has a program called the Wage Earner Protection Program. It's a fund of money that exists to provide lost wages and other financial support to workers whose companies or employers have declared bankruptcy. The Wage Earner Protection Program is related to a piece of legislation called the Employment Standards Act. So our win at the Labour Board is fantastic, and being qualified as dependent contractors at the Labour Board means, as well as being able to unionize, that we would have some teeth and some ability to pursue any kinds of claims as employees through the Employment Standards Act. In this moment, to be able to qualify for the Wage Earner Protection Program, we will have to take to the Senate another fight to prove through the Employment Standards Act that we are indeed dependent contractors and not independent contractors. Okay. And if we are to win that, then can look at some considerable funds to help workers who have lost their jobs.
Okay. Complicated, but I wish you all the best for that.
Thank you.
Good stuff. Just for the to be clear, how many people are affected now by the closure? How many foodora-Kuriers have been in Canada, or if you can name any numbers? We haven't.
I think that we're looking at between 3,000 and 4,000 couriers. I am unaware of the numbers for office staff and dispatchers and managers.
Okay, but they were mostly, I guess, normally employed as office staff and so on, not like the couriers. I don't know if it's, at least that's how it looks like in Europe, that you have the office is always employed and the couriers are independent contractors, self-employed or freelancers or you name it. So
that is what my impression was. I understand, though, since Foodora has closed, some office staff have said that there is a tier and that some office staff are also paid and treated as independent contractors, and so will not qualify for any sort of severance. So it seems to be very confusing both for couriers and
okay.
staff. I think that we have a big future ahead of us. You know, Foodora has taken our jobs away. That's true. But the community that we have built and the work that we do to support each other certainly will not go away.
Jennifer, thank you for the insight. It's really interesting, but sad on the one side, but also very positive on the other side that you won this first step of a struggle. And I would say we send you all the solidarity, and also from the Austrian Couriers. I guess there's a lot of solidarity with your situation back there now. And I hope that we can hear positive messages from you in the future soonish. Thank you.
I look forward to that too.